That's it. Like we normally do on brunch.
Okay. All right, and we're back. Welcome to episode 2 of me and Alia and Unruly Fashion. I mean, we didn't go anywhere; it's still the same episode, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm gonna make this particular segue really quick because we have so much more to cover. So hey, Alia, again. um the last one we left off, we're talking about the travel blog, so Bint Batuta and how that came along, and then we're talking about Ashri Studio as well. So I'm gonna hand it over to you to just quickly go over that, and then we can, segue to more topics. So tell me about Bint Batuta. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bint Batuta is my travel kind of photography and kind of notes. Kind of think of it as a visual diary of when I travel. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been able to travel in my 20s, but also I made it happen by sacrificing sometimes food, and again putting all my sick days towards my travel, to be able to go to all the places I want to.
Yeah.
But I also got incredibly lucky with some places where I either had family where I can go, or I won a couple travel things that were they sound insane. I got a
Ooh.
whole free trip to China for free. So that was a really interesting one because I was really bored at work one day and I wanted to motivate myself. So I made a vision board of the places I really want to see in the world. And in the smack middle of it was the Great Wall of China. And
Wow.
funny enough, 2 days later, I won a free trip to China. I don't think it
Life
was
is a
chance. It
movie.
was, I feel like it was
Like
meant to be, or I called it into my life.
it's called
So
manifestation,
yeah,
baby.
I was like very happy about it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was the universe telling me, you know what, you're meant to travel more and explore more because there's a lot of learning for you out there. And funny enough, because I went to China and then I like every time I travel, it's kind of addictive feeling where you just want to go discover somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted to go somewhere and I only had 5 days of vacation left from work and they would expire by the end of the year. So I booked a trip to Colombia because it was the cheapest one that I could afford was to go to Colombia. And it happens that that morning where I was thinking about where to go, I saw someone wearing a Columbia jacket. It was a brand, but still, I thought that was another sign for me to go because I was just looking at that ticket. So I
Yeah.
booked the ticket to go there. Ended up a life transforming experience for me. But this is where the name Bint Batuta comes from, because my mom, who didn't really travel as much in her life, but she came to me and she's like, "Who do you think you are, Ibn Battuta?" Ibn Battuta was a famous Muslim traveler who made it as far as Russia, people think. So all over Asia and Africa, and he's famous for his book about his travels around the world,
Yeah.
in Ibn Battuta. So I was like, well, I wouldn't be Ibn because Ibn means son of Battuta. I would
Yeah.
be Bint. I'll be daughter of Battuta, and this is where the kind of the blog name came about.
Oh, that's
That
amazing.
putting myself in that famous traveler, but using his name, but instead of the son of, well, I'm the daughter because
Yeah.
you know where I come from in Egypt. Women are not supposed to travel alone and explore on your on your own. You're supposed to always wait for marriage for it to happen. But for me, you
Yeah.
know me, I was like, I'm not going to wait.
Alia
I'm
said,
gonna.
I will not
I'm
disappoint.
alive now. I'm gonna experience it.
Yes, yes, yes. And I love the
Yeah, and this
places
is where the
you've
blog
been.
came about. Um, mhm.
No, like the places you've been, I think there's a bit of a lag, but like the places you've been, the things you've seen, and even the ones you've documented, the ones I've just heard orally, like your life, you need to make a movie about your life because your life is ridiculous in a great way. Like I love it so much. But yeah, I love that. So like, but the thing is, another thing I've noticed, like in all your travels, like you remain ever the fashionista. Because I remember when you were in Paris and you sent me pictures, you're like, look at this thrift store that I discovered, and I was like, tell me you bought that, but eventually you didn't buy. But like, I love how like, your fashion sense, and you go to other places to like explore their fashion as well. And I, like I mentioned, you're my friend who loves fashion just as much as I do. So in keeping with that, like I know you've seen the runways this season. What do you think? Tell me what your thoughts are. Let's break that down because like I can't. I want to hear your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing I'm noticing about how I'm approaching fashion in general is I'm trying to be the influenced by the influencers. So actually, I ended up unfollowing a lot. So I missed parts of Fashion Week, but at the same time, I only saw the parts that I really care about through the what I think are the authentic influencers that I love to follow and
Yeah.
see the runway shows that they've been to.
Yeah.
For me, I love technology and how it incorporates into fashion.
Yeah.
A lot of fashion designers, I feel like they're kind of going for the similar looks, and even like in the runways, they're still going the same concepts. Where a lot of the ones like they were all using twins for some reasons. Like okay, well, it's cool when one show does it, but if you're all using twins, it's funny because I'm a twin too. But if you're all using twins in your shows, like how unique is your thinking, or are you all going in one direction, or
Oh
like
my
what
god.
is happening there? So the
Yeah.
same thing with the designers, and I feel like the influencers, they're all wearing the same bag, they're all wearing the same thing.
Ah.
So for me, my approach to it is like, do I actually like it, or am I seeing on every influencer? So or actually, does it look even good on them, or just wearing it because it's a status symbol to have something like this? And for me, I don't want to be on this side of the fashion. I love self expression. I love creativity, but
Mhm.
I don't want to do something just because every influencer is doing it or the designers are saying it's cool. Do I actually think it is cool myself?
Yes.
And for me, the ones that I really found cool, I really loved Off White's new collection. I think the new designer Ibrahim Kamara has really cool, like it's simple. It's not like crazy out there, but it's artistic. You can tell there was art in every little piece. Stitch was really thought
Exactly.
of, so I
Exactly.
really liked his work.
Yeah, because like Virgil
That was
was
one, and
faking
then
Phil, so I
mhm,
I respected that when it came out. I was like, you know what, I respect it because you had some pretty big shoes to fill, and it wasn't like it was a great show off white. But yeah, which other one did you like?
yeah, I wouldn't want to be the one who to follow such big names. It's so hard when you come after a much thought after designer and you're supposed to be like the new up and comer, and it's just the pressure of it. Honestly, I don't envy anybody who's in the position, whether fashion or otherwise, where you have that big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
Um,
especially
it's
when it's
hard,
'cause
and it can
the
go wrong, and it went a lot of designers.
Yeah, especially when it's because the designer died, not that they moved on to a different fashion house. You know what I mean? Like, if they moved on to a different fashion house, is that okay? They
Yeah.
scouted you and they said, this person's leaving. We think you can fill their shoes, so you have time. But if it's like they died,
Mhm.
like McQueen and Virgil Abloh, it's just like, okay, so like, oh my God, like, I gotta, now they're not only dead, they're like immortalized. So you can't, I can't, like, yeah, I
Mhm.
would not want to be that person, but he aced it. Good job, him. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was great. He did a good job. Another one that really stood out for me was the color changing clothes as well. So that's an incorporation of technology. And for me, I love seeing technology on the runway. I forgot the name of the designer, Moringa, I believe. And then, yeah, it was basically you see them coming out and it looks very like it was just all white
Yeah.
until the UV light comes on
Yes.
board, and then you see the color changing fabric. I've been seeing color changing fabric for years now, but it's never been done in such a cool way, presented like literally head to toe.
Yeah.
And it's just the designs really come to life because when you look at it, it's like an empty canvas, which where it shows you where the art is. Like fashion is art
Yep.
because like when you look at it, it's fully white and you're like seeing it come to life like one by one, where it was like basically scanning them. I really love that, and also you can tell the quality of the material and the stitching when the color converted. It's even better when it was just white. So I
Exactly.
really love that incorporation in there. It was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
it was really cool. It's I think, was it this year that we had the spray? Did you see the spray on dress on Bella Hadid? I mean, they basically sprayed.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I got the concept. The dress itself looked like if you yanked at it, it would fall apart. But I loved that whole, like, I love that fashion
Mhm.
is doing things on the runway as opposed to behind the scenes, right? So that's actually pretty good. I love that. And then there was this other
Mhm.
designer, I forget what her name is, and the entire thing was as the models were walking, the clothes were falling apart, which was basically a commentary on fast fashion. And at the end of it, like the backdrop of the runway fell apart, and then you saw people in the back like furiously stitching. I was like, okay, I respect it. I respect it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But
That
yeah.
that was funny. I also love that when fashion has a statement, right? Like you're making a statement with it.
Hmm.
And also you're fighting against what people are trying to do to fashion. It's always been an art. Like couture week, like just to have a dress from Dior, Christian
It's
Dior, it was like a whole
that.
process of fitting. and good stitching and all of that. Like that's the fun part of fashion. With fast fashion right now, I'm really moving more away and away from it. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% not 100% engaged. Of course, I'm slightly engaged, but I'm moving away from it because I'm like, well, how long is this piece gonna survive in my closet? Is it gonna
Exactly.
survive beyond one wear? I had the
Exactly.
most gorgeous dress I got online from who, and I took it to Paris, and before I can even wear it, the zip fell apart in Paris. So I'm like, oh my
No.
god! I had this whole like photo shoot, and it's just the quality of it was so bad. It fell apart on me in Paris, and I had this another incident where I was actually out in Rome, and like the pants fell apart. I was like, oh my god, I really don't want to be a part of that, or like my clothes to be such low quality. I was like, okay, I can afford better clothes right now that I can move away from that fast fashion. So
Yeah.
I'm making that shift.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, it's funny. There was this Nigerian performer. I think he's called Ashake or something, and then he did this high kick while he was performing, and his pants ripped right down the middle. I was like, that is Shein. You can't convince me otherwise. That was Shein, and I was like, my mom was like, no, he can afford more. I was like, no, that's giving because I don't. It like ripped right down the middle. I was like, why would you do that? Like in a high performance, high energy. But to your point, like I even and I mean Shein is the biggest culprit, but even houses like Zara and H&M, it's just like the quality keeps going lower, but the prices have the audacity to keep going higher. It's like, well, what are we doing here? It just you throw it
Yeah.
in the wash, it falls apart. That's honestly why I'm very into like local designers or people that I know personally, because it's just like I know that you took your time
Mhm.
to make this, and no matter how much it costs, I'll pay that amount because I know that it's fair. But then it
Mhm.
also, it reduces how much money you spend, right? If you buy one thing that's very good quality and you spend a good chunk of money on it, you can rewear it over and over. And even the high fashion houses have started like some nonsense because there was, I'm not going to mention the big name brand, but I was in Nordstrom the other day and I was touching this. I was just like, who is this? For how much? Are you kidding? What? Like no, fast fashion is getting
Mhm.
it was always ridiculous, but it's getting so much more ridiculous and I'm just like, yeah, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. But I miss, to your point, I
Yeah, that's
miss.
why I like to curate while I travel.
Yeah.
Right now, I usually buy pieces from the places I go to. Because like it's funny because I took a picture the other day and someone was like asked me where something was from, and I was like, and then I started thinking about the entire outfit. I was like, oh, I got this hat from England. I got this T-shirt from like Bali. I got these pants. Like I started curating and buying certain things from different countries I go to,
Yeah.
because then I feel like the closet has more meaning in my life in the sense that when I wear something, I remember the place I was in and my travel.
Exactly.
So I have a more of a connection with the clothes because I bought it somewhere very specific. It
Yeah.
allows me. Most of them are local, not always, but most of them are like I try to get some local items, and
Yeah.
also this means that it's unique and it spoke to me and I got it. So
Exactly.
I know that there isn't like I'm not gonna go walk into a room. What's the likelihood of someone wearing the exact same dress? Because if you
Right.
walk to a party all decked out, you don't want anybody in the same dress. So
That's
I do find that just buying from these places allows me to get better quality,
mm-hmm.
locally made.
Yeah.
I'm supporting people who are selling there, not selling or exporting out to these, exploiting brands. So for me, I try to kind of now be more thoughtful in
Yeah.
the pieces that I have,
Yeah.
especially because, I just moved across country. You
Mm-hmm.
know how many things I found was the tags attached to my closet. I bought it and I never wore it because I participated in that fast fashion.
Oh
It
my
just did, when I got it, it didn't make sense in my closet, so I
yeah.
never wore it,
Yeah, I do
and that
that.
made me sad.
I do that. It's just, but it's good. Like, it's funny. Like, I do that too. Like, if I travel, I make it my job to go to a mall. I must go to a mall wherever it is I go and buy one thing. So it's funny that you should say this. Something else that we haven't. We should travel together, Alia. I think it would be so much fun. We should do it. But just so before we run out of time, I want us to again talk about. I mean, we've talked about the runway. I liked Hermes. I did like it. It was very simple, pared down. I liked their fall collection. Very equestrian. I have a thing for equestrian fashion. It was really well done. Then there's this African designer that I just discovered this year, Tebe Magugu. It was just the looks. I love when fashion is art because sometimes people see the runway and they're like, "Who's gonna wear that? You're not supposed to wear it. It's art." Iris Van Herpen. That's what that is. Like, shut up about it. But anyway, completely different thing altogether. But before we wrap up, I want to hear what your unruly fashion moment is, because I know that you have a bunch. So just tell me about it, and then we can wrap up this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, my early fashion moments. Well, the most recent one I would have to say was my wedding in December, so a few months ago. We've all, I think, had visions of what our wedding would be like. For me, it was, getting married in Italy. Was an Oscar de la Renta dress, so that was like kind of my dream. As you know, I had to, like move across country and like had prepare a destination wedding and all of that. So in the midst of it all, first of all, I was like, how much am I really willing to spend on a dress? And I was like, okay, need to be realistic. Plus, I did not have the time to really get all the fitting that are required to get, to a custom
Perfect
dress.
fit. Yeah.
Also being size 14, getting something off the rack is not easy. Sample sizes do not run. And you've been to one of the shoppings with me, and the sample sizes of the dresses that they had that would actually fit me were nowhere near what I wanted. So my crazy thing, which I never thought I would do, I ordered my dress online from ASOS. Believe it or not, they
I
had a
thought
nice
that's the
collection of
thing.
plus size bridal, which I had no idea ASOS even does bridal.
Dude.
I only tried on the dress once before my actual wedding, and to my surprise, it fit perfectly on the wedding day. I was literally like waiting for them to zip it up, but didn't even know if it will zip
It
or
was
not.
like,
So it
yeah.
was a huge risk that I took.
Paid
Huge
off.
risk, but honestly, it worked. It worked. It just, yeah, it really fit with the whole theme of the wedding too, because I went for the whole black and white, kind of aesthetic of Egypt. So
Mm.
there's like this famous hotel where they used to film all the romantic old Egyptian romantic
Ooh.
comedies and romantic movies. So I was lucky to be there in this hotel, and the dress just kind of really brought it all together and fit that classic look that I was going for. So
It,
it was crazy because everybody in my family called me crazy for buying a dress online, first of all, and second of all, not trying it or like actually getting it customized, and it still fit perfectly on the day off. So,
no, I'll give it
yeah,
to
it was a crazy
ASOS.
moment,
ASOS
but
is
pull it
good.
out.
Yeah, I'll give it to ASOS. ASOS is good. Like when you hit a hit, it's a hit, right? And they do bridal. I respect them. They've come a long way. And then so like that is unruly though. Like that's way your wedding day. I I love that you took that risk and it paid off for you. So like and it's funny you should mention. So this is gonna be the last thing we talk, and then we can wrap up because BB's in the corner like you've run out of time. Leave us alone, sir. We're talking. So I mean, so do you have any tips, like like you said, like for plus size girls, like how do you curate your wardrobe? Because I love your wardrobe, it's so well put together. So like any tips, like what
Oh,
inspires you? Yeah,
great.
it's no, it's a great wardrobe. I always want to steal
Well,
you.
for me, I don't know if I can give any tips much, but what I can say for me, what's really true for me is that I'm now open to where I get my clothes. Again, whether I'm traveling or even around here, if I like a piece, I
Hmm.
will I will get it regardless where it's from. Even if it's from Costco, don't kill me. But if I like a basic that they have, I would actually buy it. Does it fit me? Is it good on me? Is it good quality that will not fall apart on me in the middle of like, a date or a middle of travel trip? Like I don't want something that will fall apart on me. So I like to buy the pieces, like keep an eye out for
Yeah,
things that I may like regardless of where I go. For me, I also don't try to limit myself to certain brands just because they are, what all the influencers are recommending. So I kind of stay again, de-influence my mind in that sense,
yeah,
and just go and explore what's around me, my environment. I told you I just moved to an island, so the amount of stores that I have around is not great.
yeah,
So every time I see a store, I would just walk in and kind of explore what kind of clothes they carry and what kind of sizes, and keep an eye out and just keep going back and checking to be
yeah,
able to find something that will speak to me, and then I'll be able to pick it up and go home with it. So I buy from like Simon's, like they're great for clothes and just like one-off pieces that will not be like what everybody else is wearing, that will fit me.
yeah,
As a plus size too, I've learned not to look at the tag. I don't care. Like I'm a size 14. If it's 16, like before I used to feel bad about it, but I was like, hey, if it fits me better, I will go for it. If
Yeah.
I'm going for a double XL, I'm not gonna be, shamed by what's on the tag. If it fits me and it's comfortable and it fits my aesthetic, I'm gonna go and get it. I don't care what size it is.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. I feel like a lot of people will be like,
It's
oh yeah,
funny
I can
you
only
should
shop at plus
mention
size.
that.
Well, but
Yeah, no, it's funny you should
mhm,
mention that. I always try to tell. So it's one of the tips that I gave earlier. Like shop everywhere. I go into menswear. I go into because
mhm,
like my issue with sizing is the opposite. I'm tiny, and like I shop in the kids department. I don't give a damn. Like I shop everywhere, right? Even
mhm,
Costco. Like it's funny you should be like, don't kill me. No, I do that too. Like if I've been into Walmart and I'm like, this is. I'm gonna buy it, and then you buy it, and it's nice because even what is it? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? There's you can find good things, but like the whole women's sizing is not standardized. We know that as in fashion. Like men's sizing is standardized. A man is a
no,
36, 32 anywhere, right? He's it in Harry Rosen, he's it in H&M.
mhm,
Whatever, once he knows his waist size and his length size, it
mhm,
doesn't change. Women are different. I'm a small in some stores, I'm an extra small in some stores, I'm a medium in some stores. There was one time I bought
mhm,
something from Forever 21 and I was a large. And that was the last time I took any women's sizing seriously. Because our sizes are not standardized, it's vanity sizing
yeah,
sometimes. So like it's great advice. Don't look at the tag. Does it fit? Yes. Even if
mhm,
it says that's not your size, just as long as it fits, put it on. As long as you look good. Like don't let a piece of paper shame you. That's ridiculous. But that's excellent advice. I love
exactly. Don't try to force yourself into something that's small and uncomfortable because nah, it's we're we're too old
yeah.
for that. I'm not doing that anymore.
Right? Like
Also, one thing that actually I learned from you is invest in a good tailor or find a good tailor around you because tailoring clothes make a world of difference.
yep.
My ceremony dress needed adjustment, so I found a tailor and
And
they
it
made it
doesn't
so
cost
much
that
better for
much.
me. It fit like extremely differently.
Yeah.
No, no,
It doesn't
you
cost
can
that
find a
much.
good
You got a tailor to
tailor,
let it
and
out,
again,
put it in, whatever it is that needs to get at some point. You need to invest in a tailor because like we
yeah,
said, the way that women's sizing is not standardized, even women's sewing is not standardized. They don't take into account lumps and bumps and
yeah,
whatever. So you got to get a tailor to fit it to you, and that way people can't steal your clothes. That's a good. People can't just
yeah,
you know,
and it makes it look custom. It really takes it up a notch, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I can feel BB just boiling in the background. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. But this was a great convo. Thank you for coming on, girl. Like, I'm gonna have you again. Like, this was such a fun conversation. We're gonna have to wrap up now, unfortunately. So I'm gonna do the regular rattling of the social media handles. But as always, you're my fave. Please come a second time. This was a great combo, and I'm gonna come to Vancouver and see you for sure, and we can go shopping.
Yes, we're for here.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, so I mean, as usual, this brings us to the end of the episode. This is a longer episode, but it's fine. You had fun. You had a great time. You can find us again on social media at Unruly Fashion Pod on Instagram, at the Noella E on Instagram, at the Podfire Network, and then Alya's handles is at the Real Alyaa. Alyaa spelled Alyaa, the real Alyaa, and then there's at Ashri Studio, which is where the photography happens. We didn't talk about the photography. I'm sad about it. Oh my god! But Alyaa is an excellent photographer. She doesn't think she is, but she is. Okay, at Ashri underscore studio, ASHRI underscore studio, at Bint Batuta, daughter of the traveler. That's as well. And then just follow us. And like I said, the Beyonce tickets are still up for grabs. There's also, it's funny we talked about ASOS because we also have $100 ASOS gift card to give away. So be part of the giveaway. Follow Unruly Fashion on all platforms, and hopefully somebody wins the Beyonce ticket and somebody wins the ASOS ticket. Maybe it'll be you, Alyaa, and you can buy stuff on ASOS. But yeah, thank you for being part of this, and until next time, this has been Unruly Fashion. Thanks everybody. Bye for now.